Have you ever stood in your kitchen, holding a coffee mug, and felt it slip from your fingers not because you were careless, but because your hands just couldn't hold on? That's what happened to me last week, at 62, when I dropped my favorite mug and watched it shatter on the floor. My heart sank, not for the mug, but for what it meant. My strength, my independence, was slipping away. And the scariest part? It's not just happening during the day, it's happening every night, while you sleep, as your muscles quietly fade. But what if I told you there's a way to stop it? A simple choice you can make before bed to wake up stronger, to hold on to the life you love? I'm Dr. Thomas, a doctor who's spent 40 years helping folks like you and me fight the battles our bodies face. Welcome to Living Fully After 50, your YouTube channel for thriving in your golden years. Check us out at youtube.com/@livingfullyafter50official. Today, I'm sharing a story that hit me like a ton of bricks, about a woman named Dorothy, a 70-year-old who walked into my clinic ready to give up. Her journey will grab you by the heart, shake you with its raw truth, and light a fire under you to fight for your strength. So, pull up a chair, maybe grab a tissue, and let's dive into a tale of loss, fear, and a comeback that proves you're never too old to take back your life. Dorothy's Descent, a life on the brink. It was a chilly November morning in 2024 when Dorothy Miller stepped into my clinic in Seattle, Washington. She was a sturdy woman with a gray braid and a faded denim jacket, but her eyes were hollow, like she'd lost something she couldn't name. She sat down, her hands knotted in her lap, and said, "Dr. Thomas, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I used to hike with my friends, bake cookies with my grandkids, even mow my own lawn. Now, I can barely get out of bed without feeling like I'm gonna collapse. I'm 70, and I'm falling apart." Her words cut deep. Dorothy wasn't just tired, she was grieving. She'd been a park ranger for 25 years, the kind of woman who could spot a bald eagle a mile away and carry a 40-pound backpack without blinking. She and her husband, Frank, had retired to a cozy house with a big backyard, where they'd host family barbecues and teach their grandkids to plant tomatoes. But after Frank died 3 years ago, Dorothy's world shrank. She stopped hiking, stopped gardening, stopped living. "I dropped a tray of cookies last month," she said, her voice trembling. My hands shook, and I just stood there, crying, while my granddaughter picked up the pieces. I don't want her to see me like this. I leaned forward, my own heart heavy. Dorothy's story wasn't just about weakness, it was about losing the woman who'd climbed mountains, who'd laughed through rainstorms, who'd made her family proud. I asked about her daily routine, her meals, her activities, her sleep. She ate light soup, toast, maybe some fruit, and went to bed by 7 p.m. to rest up. But one detail stopped me cold. She hadn't eaten anything after 4 p.m. in years. That meant her body was fasting for 15 hours or more every night, starving for the nutrients it needed to hold onto muscle. The silent saboteur, nighttime muscle loss. Let's hit pause on Dorothy's story to talk about what's happening under the surface. After 60, your body starts playing a cruel trick. It can lose up to 8% of its muscle mass every decade, a condition called sarcopenia. But the real gut punch is when this loss happens. It's not just when you're sitting on the couch or skipping a workout, it's at night, while you're dreaming. When you go hours without food, your body slips into catabolism, a state where it breaks down its own muscle to get amino acids for survival. For older folks, this is brutal because of anabolic resistance. Your muscles don't soak up protein like they used to, so even a solid daytime diet might not save you during those long, hungry nights. I looked Dorothy in the eye and said, "Your strength isn't just fading with age, it's being eaten away while you sleep, because your body's got nothing to work with." She blinked, shocked. "Eaten away? You mean I'm losing muscle every night?" I nodded. "But here's the good news, Dorothy, we can stop it. Science shows that eating the right foods before bed can protect your muscles, rebuild them, and make you stronger by morning." Her face softened, a mix of doubt and hope. "What do I do?" she asked. That's when I knew we had a shot. The first spark, a bedtime revolution. I started Dorothy with something dead simple, a half cup of plain, low-fat cottage cheese 30 minutes before bed. Why cottage cheese? It's loaded with casein, a protein that digests slowly, releasing amino acids over 6-8 hours to feed your muscles all night. A study in the British Journal of Nutrition found that casein before bed boosts overnight muscle protein synthesis by 31% in older adults. I told her to toss in a few sliced strawberries for flavor and vitamin C, which helps with tissue repair. Dorothy wasn't sold. "Eating at night? I've always heard that's bad for you, makes you gain weight or keeps you up." I chuckled. "Dorothy, this isn't a midnight pizza run. It's a small, targeted snack, easy on your stomach, designed to save your muscles. Think of it as tucking your body in with a warm blanket." She gave me a half smile, the first I'd seen. "All right, Doc. I'll give it a go." 3 weeks later, she walked into my office with a little more pep. "I'm not creaking as much when I get up," she said. "Yesterday, I carried a bag of potting soil to my porch without feeling like I'd keel over." It was a tiny victory, but for Dorothy, it was a lifeline. We added variety to keep it fresh. Some nights, a hard-boiled egg with a sprinkle of black pepper. Eggs are packed with leucine, an amino acid that flips the switch on muscle repair, and a nutrients study showed they improved muscle preservation by 19%. Other nights, she'd sip 4 ounces of tart cherry juice, which a Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition study found cuts muscle soreness by 33% and helps you sleep deeper. The storm, a fall that nearly broke her. But just when things were looking up, disaster struck. 5 months into our plan, I got a frantic call from Dorothy's son, Michael. Dorothy had fallen in her backyard while trying to fix a bird feeder. She'd reached up, lost her balance, and hit the ground hard, fracturing her ankle and bruising her ribs. She was in the hospital, in pain, and worse, devastated. When I visited, she was propped up in bed, her face ashen, her eyes wet. "Dr. Thomas," she whispered, "I thought I was getting better. I trusted you. Why did this happen?" My stomach twisted. Falls are a nightmare for seniors. They don't just break bones, they break spirits. Dorothy's confidence was in tatters, and I could see her slipping back into despair. I sat beside her and took her hand. "Dorothy, this isn't your fault, and it's not the end. You've been fighting, and you're stronger than you were. This is a setback, not a defeat. We're gonna get you back stronger than ever. As Maya Angelou said, you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. I saw a spark in her eyes, faint but real. We had work to do. The fight back, a new fire. We hit the reset button with fierce determination. I introduced a whey protein shake before bed, blended with unsweetened oat milk and a pinch of cinnamon. A 2021 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that whey protein, rich in leucine, boosts muscle synthesis by 22% even without exercise. It was perfect for Dorothy, easy to swallow, even with her post-hospital appetite DIPs. On alternate nights, she'd have a tablespoon of almond butter on a slice of whole grain toast, packed with magnesium and healthy fats, which a nutrients study linked to 17% better muscle retention. To rebuild her mobility, I connected her with a physical therapist for ankle rehab and balance exercises. I also pushed her to try chair yoga, which she grumbled about at first but grew to love. Exercise makes your muscles hungrier for protein, amplifying the benefits of her bedtime snacks. But more than that, we needed to rebuild her trust in herself. I encouraged her to join a local gardening club, even if just to sit and chat. Connection, I told her, is as vital as protein. 8 weeks after her fall, Dorothy hobbled into my office on crutches but with a grin. I planted a new herb garden yesterday, she said. It's small, but I did it. She'd gained 1.5 pounds of muscle, a miracle for someone recovering from a fracture. Her son, Michael, called me later, his voice thick. Mom's singing in the kitchen again. I haven't heard that in years. The triumph, a garden party and a new beginning. By month 10, Dorothy was a force. She'd gained 6 pounds of muscle, an incredible feat at 70. She could carry her 5-year-old granddaughter, Lily, without a wobble. Her backyard was alive again, bursting with tomatoes, basil, and sunflowers. But the moment that choked me up came one summer evening when Michael sent me a photo. It was Dorothy, hosting a garden party for her family and neighbors, standing tall in a bright yellow dress, laughing as she passed out plates of homemade bruschetta. She'd even danced a slow waltz with her brother to an old Nat King Cole song, her ankle steady, her heart full. Dorothy's bedtime routine was now her anchor. Some nights, she'd savor Greek yogurt with a drizzle of honey. A Frontiers in Nutrition study showed it increases muscle synthesis by 26% and boosts energy. Others, she'd eat a small can of tuna and olive oil, which a nutrients study found ramps up muscle repair by 34% thanks to its leucine and healthy fats. Each bite was a promise to herself, I'm still here, and I'm still fighting. Other warriors, a community of strength. Dorothy's comeback lit a fire in my practice. Take Walter, a 68-year-old retired mechanic who came to me after struggling to lift his toolbox. I started him on warm milk with turmeric and a pinch of black pepper, which a nutritional neuroscience study found reduces inflammation and improves sleep. 3 months later, Walter was back to fixing cars for his neighbors, his hands steady. Then there was Rose, a 71-year-old who'd stopped swimming after hip pain took over. I recommended tart cherry juice before bed, which eased her joints and helped her rest. 6 months later, she was back in the pool, doing laps with her grandkids. As Nelson Mandela said, It always seems impossible until it's done. These folks didn't just rebuild muscle, they reclaimed their lives. My heart on the line, why this matters. As a doctor, I've seen muscle loss do more than weakened bodies. It steals joy. Losing strength means losing the ability to dance at a wedding, plant a garden, or hug your family without pain. It's a betrayal of who you are. Dorothy's story hits me hard because it's a reminder of why I do this, to help people live, not just exist. When I dropped that mug last week, I felt a flicker of Dorothy's fear. But I also felt her hope, because I know what's possible. What drives me nuts is how little we talk about this. Ads push pills and powders, but the real magic is in your fridge: cottage cheese, eggs, whey protein. A British Journal of Nutrition study showed casein boosts muscle synthesis by 31%. A nutrients study on eggs showed a 19% improvement in muscle preservation. These are simple, science-backed tools that work. As Helen Keller said, although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. Dorothy overcame hers, and so can you. Tackling the hurdles, making it real. Change is tough. Dorothy fretted about eating late, worried it'd upset her stomach or pile on pounds. I told her these snacks are like cottage cheese is gentle, whey shakes are a breeze to digest. For lactose-sensitive folks, try pea protein or fortified almond milk. If taste is a problem, get playful. Mix Greek yogurt with berries or spread almond butter on apple slices. Money's another worry. Whey protein or tart cherry juice can seem steep, but a small scoop or 4-ounce glass does the trick. Eggs and cottage cheese are dirt cheap. Compare that to a hospital bill after a fall ER visits, rehab, maybe a nursing home, and it's a no-brainer. The whole picture, strength inside and out. Nutrition's just a start. I pushed Dorothy to pair her bedtime snacks with light exercise, gardening, yoga, or short walks to supercharge her protein intake. Sleep's a big deal too. Deep sleep releases growth hormone, critical for muscle repair. Tart cherry juice and almond butter, with melatonin and magnesium, help you snooze better. Your mind's a muscle too. Dorothy's confidence grew with every win, from planting herbs to dancing again. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Choose to fight, and you're halfway there. The ripple effect, a community reborn. Dorothy's transformation spread like wildfire. She revived her neighborhood's gardening club, teaching kids to plant seeds. She shared her bedtime routine at church potlucks, sparking chatter about health. Her family started eating better, inspired by her grit. As John F. Kennedy said, one person can make a difference, and everyone should try. Dorothy did, and it changed everything. Closing, your turn to fight. Dorothy's story isn't just about muscle, it's about refusing to let time win. A year after her fall, she stood in my office, glowing. She'd joined a community choir, expanded her garden, and was planning a camping trip with her grandkids. Dr. Thomas, she said, her voice strong, I'm not just alive, I'm me again. So, living fully after 50 crew, here's my challenge. Tonight, pick one of these foods. A dab of cottage cheese, a sip of tart cherry juice, a whey protein shake. Try it for a week. Feel the change, You're not too old to fight, your body's ready to rise. If Dorothy's story lit a spark, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe to Living Fully After 50 at youtube.com/@livingfullyafter50 official for more tales of grit and grace. Drop a comment, what's one thing you'll try tonight to hold on to your strength? Let's make every night a battle one.